While I'm out on errands, yes, I done popped outside real quick. I can't forget California, that illustrious state that is, I hear, so beautiful, because I always wanted to travel to California, but now I'm like, where in California would I go visit? Because I really am repulsed by California. The things that come out of California, it's getting sicker and sicker. They have homelessness in California. They had a couple of people that were supposed to be private or NGOs, and it keeps continuing to prove my theory that these NGOs are just money fronts and money laundering to funnel money to people that, have done favors for you, so y'all just washing the money. And it's not to solve anything. It's just a way to just keep running the game and taxing people, and then creating more of the same and maintaining a certain population so you all can run the money. Homelessness has not improved. Secretary Turner was in California about 3 weeks ago, and the same thing we were talking about, that I was talking about with these safe and or harm reduction kits, where they giving kits and things to people that are already on drugs. So basically, taxpayers are funding drug use, so we're drug dealers on the low. we mutilating children through transgender surgery. California does that. Also, and when I say we, because it's not just the state, in a lot of instances, they get federal funding or reimbursement for certain things if it's Medicaid related. Thank God that a lot of these things are not going to be covered by Medicaid, because again, I'm not for all that. If you want to choose to mutilate yourself, pay for it yourself. If I want to get my stomach tucked, I'm gonna have to pay for it. So if you want to get your wee cut off or whatever, you need to pay for that yourself. It's not my thing to pay for as a taxpayer. Now, if you ask me as a taxpayer, do I want to pay for somebody to have like maybe chemo treatments if they can't afford, that's fine, but not for nothing, especially not for me as a person that believes in God and the Bible and the genders that he created. I'm not about to make believe, because that creates a whole different situation. But that's profitable for the mental health industry that has now been exploded, because when you turn from God, you're gonna need something, and when you don't want God as a solution, man will give you trust the science, not God, trust the science. So anyway, back to California. So homelessness, they had the guys was running the program, or had gotten some money for a program a couple of months ago, that were arrested because they misused and misappropriated, mismatched money. And it was something else that came up with the homeless funds. But it hasn't gone anywhere. It hasn't solved anything. And I see why it hasn't solved anything, because if you're using the funding probably to help buy drugs, because you're going to keep them drugged up. And then they had a situation where they was it hurting the dogs? It was something going on out there. I saw a story on that a couple of months ago. And I'm like, what? So hurting dogs, giving the homeless needles, they're everywhere. A lot of people talk about how in some instances they poop in the street and all this other kind of stuff. So now the bright idea of the freaked out perverts in California that have been put in office by the majority of people that just are limited minded. I don't know what it is, because at some point you have got to say to yourself, who wants this? Only freaks and perverts. So this individual, probably Scott Wiener, the same person that, if y'all know, not what the media, not what CNN and them tell you about Scott Wiener. Look up Scott Wiener and some of the things that he has put out here. That's why he don't need to be in he needs to stay in California. Now, the only way for him to stay in California is for Californians to act like they have some God-given sense and common sense about them, and concern about humanity and decency, and not vote for him. He's a pervert and a freak and ungodly. But if they elect this man, he's going to go up here in Washington in the Senate, and then he's going to be advocating for more freaked out stuff on a national level. So I want the California people to stay in California. So that's why I talk about California, because between California, Minnesota, Massachusetts now, they perverts. And they don't have no God-given nothing in them. So anyway, California wants to create safe, is it pods or something for people to have sex? Homeless people to have sex in. So they can either masturbate, that's what the man said, masturbate, or if they want to, have sex. Listen, I'm all for, people, if you want to pleasure yourself, that's fine, but that's none of my business. Why is it our business to allow people to have space to have sex? Daggone well, if you got drugs involved, it's going to be a lot of unprotected sex, because it's going to be sex on the fly. It's going to be a lot of sex that's going to happen unconsciously, because some people get so drugged up and stuff and high, they have sex. That's more diseases. That's more unintentional pregnancies. So what are you going to fund the abortion, or you going to allow them to have the baby so that you can take over the baby and then run your transgender experiments on the babies? I don't trust a daggone thing with these people, because you have more concern with debauchery, depravity, and lewdness than you do for actually solving a problem. You only just looking to keep as many people homeless as possible so you can keep running the same scam, getting the same money. Are you always going to have people that use drugs and things of that nature? Yes. But why is government in the business of creating spaces for people to have sex? You have the back of cars, you have an alley, you have your homeless tent. I'm honestly, what? So you giving them drug kits, and we saw the kits, they were actually passing them out because the secretaries Turner showed us these kits, and then they were talking about how the drugs, and they supply drugs for people on the street because it's supposed to be for safe and harm reduction. Who is it not harming? It's harming these people by not allowing them to get clear-minded enough, get clean enough to make a decision to maybe, how don't y'all offer them some money to get clean and then maybe move out of the area and move to another environment so they don't have to return to the same place if you want to solve something. But if you want them to have a safe space, why don't you, California, if whatever park, take a park, designate that as whatever. Why don't you buy mini homes? Don't they have the mini homes? Are they still doing the mini homes? Get some mini homes. Get funding for the mini homes and let a private. Well, I'm leery of these nonprofits and things now. It used to do good business, but now it's all looking like a front to just funnel money and create more problems and ways for people to get bloated salaries, go host different high dollar galas and events, and it all goes back to the people that's either running it, but it doesn't solve the problem. But giving people space for sex, why are they so sex obsessed? But that's what happens when your mind is taken over by sex, sin, and Satan. Satan, sin, and sex. Satan, sin, drugs, sex. What is going on? But people, and I'm like, do you ask your voters? Do you put it on an initiative or a ballot? No, they will propose it. Somebody gonna vote on it, and then we see how perved out and freaked out California is. Them people are freaks. They're gonna vote for it. Then what? So now you had a homeless having sex, and then you're gonna have a whole thing of a epidemic of something. Come on, mark my words. And a lot of y'all know that. A lot of y'all are not far gone in their thinking to know that's not going to happen. That's why I talk about the things that I talk about, because I don't want you to keep supporting people that support nonstop sex and how to make it easier for people to have sex. People want to have sex. They know how to have sex. I don't think anybody has ever needed help to figure out how to have sex. Next, y'all gonna be trying to offer spaces at work for people to have sex, as if that's not already happening in some places. It was funny when the security officer said they caught a couple one day when they were doing rounds in the parking garage. Oh, they had just finished having the Humpty Hump in the car. Man, I said, I bet you they cameras, man, security probably see a whole lot. But I'm just saying, at what point and y'all really think that God is going to bless us? You really think that we're going to not have the turmoil and troubles that we have if we keep on just making everything that he said don't do a way for people to tax you to death and mismanage the money? They don't never have to correct or make a decision or stop doing something. They just tax you more. And then people turn around and keep putting these, I'm like, what is wrong with you? I really think we need to revisit, but I know we won't because people are too prideful and arrogant. I would legit, as a woman, even though I'm not a silly-minded woman, used to be, but I'm not any longer, I would really give up my voting right as a woman. So all these other nitwit women, you know, the screaming and hollering, the bear choosing women, the women that want to decenter men, that hate men, women, I would do that to not have women voting. I would. Because when you have women, honestly, it's getting very frightening. Because you're voting, you're not doing anything to help children. You're doing more harm to children than anything. There's no protection of children whatsoever. And then we got to fight to protect children. Look at how we got to fight to even have reality and sanity to say that only girls should be playing girls in sports. Satan, I'm tired of Satan flipping everything, and I'm tired of people sitting in the church and in pulpits clapping and endorsing people that push the agenda of Satan. Nobody is perfect. No man is perfect. But I'm for the people that's going to stand up and say, nah, that's not it. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not going against God. These people don't care about going against God because they done rewrote and reimagined who God is. The same way they inviting you to the altar of reimagining who God is. Who is God to you? Is he gay? Is he queer? Is he a she? Because no, he's not a she. It's sad. Now I want watching Gavin, because I saw Gavin is trying to convince people now, which it's not a bad idea, to actually get the Trump accounts for the babies. You know, I think, what's that, $1,000 for babies born or whatever it is. I don't know. If I had a baby or grandchild right now, oh, they'd be signed the hell up. Yeah, I sure would. Why not? It's people have donated. Taxpayers, you can pay into it, and then when they get a certain age, instead of telling them to go, you 18 now, go get pregnant and get on welfare, you can tell them go take that money and either invest in yourself, go to school, or invest in yourself, get a home, or let it sit and let it grow, go to work, add to it, whatever. But you have other people saying, don't do it. I mean, I was surprised. I said, is Gavin, what's going on? Is that really Gavin? I think it's a good idea. That's one of the, yeah, because I'm like, some stuff, come on. Why would you not? Because as soon as I think it's a 401k plan or some type of investment accounts that they working on, I'm sure enough going to get me one of those. I'm trying to invest now. I want to even get some, I'm trying to find out. I see the Treasury going to sell some more, but I'm trying to get my hands on even some Treasury. I want to invest. That is what we need to be on, people. Instead of listening to people, especially the people, that you listen to tell you don't. Why would you not get money? Why would you not? Nobody's telling you to kill somebody or anything like that. Oh, but you'll go out here and kill. If they tell you to get an abortion, oh yeah, I want to get an abortion. You'll do that, but you won't get, you'll get your child an abortion, but you won't get them an account where you can add to it, or on their birthdays, you can have people put money into the account, or the money that you get on the birthdays, put it into the child's account. Are you slow? But yet y'all talking about, oh, we can't get no money, we can't get ahead. Broke people do broke stuff. And the people that want to see you broke tell you don't take advantage of things that need to be taken care of. But you know who's going to take advantage of it? The foreigners. I'm gone, y'all. Yeah, but keep California to California. And California, y'all need to do better. Because if you legit... And I know a couple of people, it's a guy I know, I'm like, I know he can't stand being in California. He talk about all the time. Because he's a conservative gentleman. And he has some logic and some sense. But I'm like, how can you stand it? But I'm like, it's got to be a better way. Got freaked out, perved out individuals making laws to just do more lewd things. We are literally Sodom and Gomorrah. Next, y'all just gonna be in the street. Philadelphia. I heard today. What's the guy? The guy from Philly Flips Bread. I love listening to them talk. They actually talk like men. I like that. But they were talking about they having a naked bike ride. So he was like, they don't care if it's kids outside. They just letting people do any and everything. See, men, that's the stuff men talk about and get concerned about. I don't know. Y'all need to step y'all game up out here. Because DC, good God almighty. What y'all gonna do? Gee. We're falling behind. Freaking stupid.